Well, good morning traders. Thanks for joining me a little bit earlier than normal. I do have an airport run to do this morning, so webinar is obviously 30 minutes early. Just give me a yes if you can all hear me and you can see the Forex Factory calendar. Morning to Stuart, Sarah, Marcus, Anthony. Morning to everybody. Yep, you can do excellent stuff. There's a fair bit to run through this morning, not just the currency pairs, but a question and a few other things we need to run through as well. As usual though, let's take a look at the Forex Factory calendar. It is the 7th of August. We did have New Zealand news out in the night, and we did see some big rallies as a result of that on the New Zealand pairs. No real news out today though, but we do need once again to have a look at the pound pairs and the movement that we're seeing within those. First of all, this is YouTube Live. There is typically a 10 to 15 second delay, so if you do have a question, please pop it in the chat, but it may take me a little bit of time to get around and answer it. Other than that, the purpose of this room is to review the opportunities that meet the rules outlined in the educational material at freeforex.education.co.uk. So, how's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? And I'm just going to bring over the statistical review, the latest trades log. And we had a question. Stuart, first of all, says, back in a second, screen needs refreshing. Okay. We had a question saying, is this drawdown normal that we're seeing? So what I'm going to do is, we've actually been in a drawdown now for 3 weeks. So if I bring over the latest trades page, I just want to spend a few minutes answering this question, and we go back 3 weeks. Actually, yeah, to the 15th. So if we go to the 15th, this is really when the drawdown started. My drawdown is currently minus 445 pips. If we actually go back a week beforehand, the drawdown is a lot less, but that's because we were in profit, so it was minus 200. So minus 445 pips. That's currently my drawdown. Now, is it out of the norm to see a drawdown of about 5.5%? My risk management means that I'm down around about 5.5% of my account balance. That is a bigger drawdown than normal. Typically my drawdowns only last for around a couple of weeks, maybe 3 at a push. But what I don't usually see more than the drawdown is this many consecutive losses. That is unusual. And those of you that have been monitoring the weekly statistical review, and I won't harp on about it too long because I have mentioned this a few times, I always go back over the trades and look at the reason why it lost. I do that every week, and I look at the reasons why the trade lost. Did we do anything wrong? Was it a good trade? Did it meet the rules? And what we found was that because of basically a lot of pound trades that we'd taken and all the stuff that's been associated with the pound recently, we had a couple of weeks ago those 4 trades that we all know came within a few pips of hitting and didn't. And a key week for us was that 221 pip losing week, where 4 trades came a few pips away from hitting, and it would have meant a 50 pip winning week. So you can't change the figures. We obviously lost, but due to the erratic behavior of the pound, we had a losing week where it was tough to see such a big losing week when we could quite easily have finished that week in profit. And then also we look at last week. For me personally, on Thursday afternoon, I was 164 pips in profit with 2 trades, 2 pound trades. One was the pound Aussie that was up 100 pips in the evening, and the pound New Zealand was up 70. 1 hour later, Trump had tweeted, and I'm not too sure if he spoke to the news at that point, but he tweeted, and within an hour we were stopped out of pound Aussie when it was we were 100 pips up. And then the pound New Zealand the following day, we got stopped out of that as well, and both of those were max risk trades, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about those fundamentals. You know, I was rubbing my hands together thinking we'd be out the drawdown last week, and unfortunately Trump news we weren't, and that all that has done is exaggerate this drawdown, made it worse. But is it out of the norm? Well, I'm not usually in such a big drawdown. 5.5% is a fair amount for me, but it isn't, given the circumstances, out of the norm. So I hope that answers that question. Is it nice to be in a drawdown? This amount, no. We're also in two big pound pairs again, and I'm not very happy about holding them, if I'm completely honest with you. Yeah, I'm not very happy about holding those pound pairs. Again, both max risk trades, but we're in them, and we'll just have to see what happens. I cannot sabotage those trades because they do meet the rules. Could you though? Stuart, I love a good drawdown. Here's the thing again, if you use proper risk management, the drawdown is, for me, 5.5%. But yeah, the two big pound pairs we're in, if both of those lose, this will be quite a big drawdown. And the drawdown is just the draw. In fact, just let me touch on two other points as well, just to finish off answering this question. Who yesterday, and just give me a yes, who yesterday was in the Euro Aussie trade, which lost? Of course it lost. And who was in the Euro pound trade, which lost? Just give me a yes if you was also in those two trades, because we took a few trades yesterday. Three of them, Stuart, okay, three of them lost. However, don't know if you guys actually go back and ever review the trades. I certainly do. I do it on every trade because I obviously do the review, then I have to send the signal, and then I do the video, and so I monitor the outcome of the trades, and I do it also to see what the outcome of the trade was. Euro Aussie, this was our entry, and look at what we did. For me personally, guys, I was stopped out by 4 pips. You know, 4 pips. How many of these trades have we had? Now, if we're looking at unusual, and I did talk about this in the last couple of weekly statistical videos, unusual is when we see 1 or 2 trades, more than one trade really, that just stopped us out and went on to win. So 4 pips, and look at what we did. Boom, rally. What was this, guys? 100, was it 120 pips? I think I entered in here for a retest of the highs, 111, something like that. 111 pips. And we were stopped out by 4. So I took a 38 pip loser on this trade. Within 4 pips it turned around. And let's just go and look at it on the 60. Just not much to say. Even here on the 60, this was our structure level. We'd put in a higher high, higher close here. We were just stopped out. You know, unlucky. What about the euro pound, guys? This was the drawings out that we spoke about. On the actual figures, I was stopped out by 2 pips. 2 pips. And look at what we're doing here. We actually put in a big double bottom here on the 60. Now our entry was on the 15, but look at this big wick here. Look at this big spike. And I'm just going to drop to the 15. Okay. There was our double bottom, guys. Right here. Stopped out by 2 pips. Now I don't know what's going to happen here, if I'm completely honest with you. If we look up here, we've had 2 double tops. 1, 2, 3, 4. So either this double bottom is going to win and we're going to go bullish, or these 2 double tops, this is a pullback for 26.18 and we're going to go short. So I don't know actually what's going to happen. If we were still in this, I would have reduced the risk down now to just down here. But if that goes on to win, that will be another trade, and that's just stopped us out. Now that's tough. That's harder than the drawdown. If that wins, that'll be 77. The other one was 110. 180, 190 pips of trades that may have gone on to win. And that's tough, because that's like a couple of weeks ago, when we hit that 221 pip loser, and 4 of them were a couple of pips away from targets. So that's tough. So again, just to finish off answering the question, is it unusual? Yes, it's I don't usually see as big a drawdown, but it's not completely unusual. The number of losses is unusual, and what is very unusual is the number of trades that has just stopped us out. And that is down to the erratic behaviour of the news. I hate to lay blame just on one thing, but this is just the news, guys. This is the uncertainty. Big wicks, bigger than an ATR. What about you guys? What are your thoughts on it? Would you say that it's a little bit unusual? I do talk about this a few times. I don't want to harp on about it too much, but obviously a lot of these currency pairs, we're seeing new lows or new highs. We're seeing erratic behaviour on the pound. If you ever need confirmation there's erratic behaviour, well, pound New Zealand this morning saw a 471 pip move within just an hour, just over an hour. Pound pair coupled with New Zealand news that was out, that's a big rally. 470 pips within the hour. Do you think, guys, it's maybe unlucky? Do you think it's as a result of the news? Do you think it's bad trading? What do you think it is? Let me know what your thoughts are. I will be monitoring the euro pound, just simply to see the outcome of the trade. If it was another trade that, goes on to win. Okay, guys, hope that answered the question. But yeah, this drawdown is not very nice. I am not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it at all. I'm not enjoying seeing the number of losses, and I'm not enjoying seeing those trades that have just tapped us out. Stuart says, news, that's my thoughts. Yeah. Yep. So, any currency pairs you guys want to look at? Khan, he's got his share, 200 pips. I don't want to keep looking at things of how they could have been or how they should have been, but it's been hard luck. Euro Aussie went on to win, just stopped us out. Euro pound, we'll see if that does rally up and hit targets, and would have stopped us out by 2 pips. And I talk about as well, and I'll get onto the charts in a moment, there's nothing actually at market. I'm waiting for a couple of things, but I do talk about there's 2 ways to make money. The first one is obviously winning trades. The second one is to not take losing trades. And the Euro Aussie, we took a 38 pip loser, but it actually won for 111. So that was 150 pips difference that it would have made to our P&L. So what are we down? 445. If that had actually not stopped us out, our drawdown would have been 300. If a couple of weeks ago we'd not have been stopped out on that 221 pip week where we had the 4 trades, then our drawdown would be 50 pips. And each of those trades were within a couple of pips. So yeah, it's unusual to see so many just stop us out. Sarah says, would you ever change anything? Okay. I'm not a fundamental trader, so I can't trade based on what my impression is going to be of the news, whether it's going to make price rally one way or another. I can only trade off the technicals, and the technicals are that I've got a long position on the pound dollar and I've got a long position on the pound yen. So I can't change anything because I'd end up sabotaging my rules. Could we maybe reduce down the risk and say that because we're in, you know, difficult times with the pound, is it an idea to maybe reduce down the risk? Maybe even exit a position on one of the pound pairs and try to limit the exposure. So you know that for exposure I only have a maximum of 3 currency pairs. Maybe due to these uncertain times you can say, well, actually for another couple of weeks until things settle down, we're just going to only enter 1 pound pair and limit the exposure. That's a possibility. I'm not actually liking the pound dollar setup, if I'm completely honest with you, and that's 100 pip max risk. And if that's something you want to do, then you know it's uncertain times. I would certainly say if you want to do that, that's if it's within your rules, then go ahead and do that. So let's crack on with a few currency pairs, guys. As a result of the news, there's been lots and lots of rallies and potential breakout patterns. So we will take a look first of all at the Aussie dollar CAD. Yeah, I think the important thing, Sarah, is just to simply look at the reasons why the drawdown has just got so it is just where it is. And you know, we were just stopped out due to news. It's not nice, I don't like it, but proper risk management. Drawdown for me is about 5.5%, but the number of losses is quite big, to be honest with you. I usually don't see as many losses, certainly not one after another either. So Aussie dollar CAD, guys, I don't have enough data loaded, but we are still pushing lower. What does concern me just here is that we did come into a psychological number, the 8900, but as you can see we are pushing lower. So if we drop down to the 60, you could be looking for a short opportunity up here. We do have a nice swing in the market, a lovely directional move. Unfortunately though, this is not providing us a flag pattern. Let's look at the 15. In actual fact, here on the 15 you don't have a flag. You have a double bottom that's occurred at a psychological number, and it's a rotation pattern, so you're seeing a bullish move as a result of it. So while that's looking quite nice, it's not going to be anything I'm interested in because of the double bottom, and there's nothing valid for me on the 60. Now this actually could turn out to be an alternate flag. Those of you that have looked at the educational material could end up being that. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to need quite a few more candles to form as yet. So even though we've got the new low, there's not going to be anything for me on the Aussie dollar CAD. If there are any questions, please let me know. If not, we'll move over to the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar pushing lower. This was our most recent low just here, and you can see we're pushing lower. We have got the RSI that's gone massively oversold here at 12, and we are hitting a psychological number 6700. So I'd be very cautious here. If we drop down to the 240 and we do have a confirmed break below, close below, I'd be a little bit cautious because we could see the structure level held. Look at this major structure level. It's major for me because we saw a major reaction, and we could see this level hold, and we could see a pop here to the upside. Let's go and look at the 240. At 240 you do have a confirmed violation to the downside. This would be your outside return here, guys, if you're looking at shorting the market. So you're waiting for a pullback. A conservative entry would be within your first chance just here. If you get a double top on the 60-minute, it will reduce down your risk and it will give you a nice reward to risk. Just let me know, guys, what do I like about this on the 60-minute time frame. See this highlighted area just here? I'll go ahead and re-highlight it. Let me know why I would be very interested in a short in this area. Beautiful directional move. Resistance, yeah, not just one, not two, not three, but 4 levels of resistance, which was support. So now that we've violated it, and we talk about this quite a lot, when we have an area that's been tested multiple times, when we violate it, we tend to violate it with a lot of force. And what that will mean is that this very good area of support now becomes a very good area of resistance. So we've got conflicting signals here on the higher time frame. I'd be a little bit cautious about shorting the market. Here on the 60, you've got a beautiful resistance area, which is going to give you a high probability area to look for shorts. If you do drop down to the 15, there may even be a flag pattern. Let me know, guys, is this a valid flag pattern? Just give me a yes or no. Is it going to be valid here on the 15? No. No, it's not. It doesn't adhere to structure in any way. So as we go back to the 60, we would simply be looking for the market to come up to this point and look for a conservative entry within this zone. So even though we've got the directional move and it looks like a flag, it's not going to be valid. So I will keep that on the 15 though, because we'll monitor that. And yeah, a conservative entry up here, a double top. Really, a double top is what's required, and I would only really be playing for a retest of the lows, unless of course you wanted to put half your position off at the lows and hold to see if you do get the breakout lower. But as I say, the daily's just concerned me there down at that major structure level. Euro Aussie. Well, we can take a look at this. I'm going to load a little bit more data on here. Was it 3,000 I loaded last time? Let's load a bit more data. You can see that this is the last 3 years worth of data. This was our most recent high, and we are spiking through it. We are for at least the last 3 years up at a level that we've never been at before, and we are pushing higher. Okay, this is now the last 10 years, and we are now up. This was the highest structure level just here, and once again we're seeing quite a big spike through this level, though we've not closed beyond it. We do have the RSI, which is massively overbought here at 87. So again, I'd be a little bit cautious about buying the market up, because we could see a very big wick and a rejection candle up here. So let's go and drop to the 240 time frame. So if you believe that price can go higher, well, you've got a lovely rally, a pullback, and another lovely rally. So you do have a trend continuation opportunity here still on the Euro Aussie, and we have been very bullish here. But again, you know, a little bit uncertain, because this is probably the highest point we've been for about 5 years. So you know, it's a little bit more uncertain in my opinion, because I don't like being at new highs. You know, the highest point we've been for 5 years, it just provides uncertainty. But let's drop down to the 60. with uncertainty, you maybe want to be a little bit more cautious with your entry, and that will mean looking for rotation patterns. So if you highlight the wicks just here, you can see we're just coming into that area now. This is a real shame, isn't it, that we never got that triangle we spoke about. Targets would have been hit now. What a shame. But yeah, first chance entry here, you could look for a 15-minute double bottom, and as we drop down to the 15, do we have the RSI confirmation? First of all, no, there is no RSI confirmation, so there is not going to be a valid double bottom in this zone, so that's going to be out the window. Is there a flag pattern just here? We'll do it on the closes of the candles. No, there is no valid flag either. So while it looks quite tasty, it's not setting up in a way that's going to provide me with a conservative entry. Let's just go back to the 60 a moment. The next level I'd look at really is going to be this internal level just here. But again, we could see quite a big rejection here based on that daily candle and the RSI, and the fact that we're up to about 5 or 6 year new highs there. So not going to be too much for me on the Euro Aussie. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Euro yen. Haven't looked at the Euro yen this morning. Euro yen. Okay. Euro yen, so this was our structure low just here, this major level. You can see that we've had a confirmed break below, close below, and it does look as though there's room to come lower down to this internal structure level. In actual fact, that's where we're at, currently trading at that point. And we've put in a higher high, higher close. The RSI did go oversold as well, so we could see a little pop here, a little pop as a minimum up to the wicks just here, and you can actually see that we've not as yet come up to that level. Let's go down to the 240. 240. Well, 240, we do have a confirmed violation to the downside on the 60. Not too much, you've got to move higher. A pullback, a move higher, and then we're just kind of moving sideways here. Is this a valid flag? Okay, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4. Was there any structure? There's no real structure here as to where I could say that price could turn. So if this is a valid flag pattern, I would wait for either a breakout and a pullback and then a chance to get long, or you could wait for price to come down for another test and provide some sort of conservative entry on the lower time frame. If we go to the 15, not too much here right now. So that's the euro yen. It's unlikely this is going to be an opportunity I'm going to get involved with. It doesn't look as though it's going to set up in a way which is going to give me that confirmation that I want that this is actually going to be a flag pattern. So we will move that one out the way. And let's take a look at something else. Let's take a look at the Euro New Zealand. Another currency pair where we've seen a big rally. It doesn't look as though it's going to produce a flag pattern though. Let's go out to the dailies. And again guys, look at this. Look at these rallies that we're seeing out of the market. Today we've seen a rally of, wow, 470 pips on the Euro New Zealand trade as well. So the pound New Zealand nearly 500, euro New Zealand 480 pips. Unusual. There is a back pattern. Sorry, correction. Looks like we have a Gartley pattern. X to A to B, B to C, CD completion would be around here. I would need to measure that out just to double check that it is a Gartley pattern. But I'd be waiting. You've got a harmonic move here up to the 786, just at the point where completion was. Just here. It also came into, we fell short of just the 17600 psychological number. The RSI went overbought at 87. Let's go and take a look at the 240. 240. Well, the ATR on this is just going to be massive, I think. Just going to be absolutely huge. Let's go and look at the 60. 62 pips for the ATR on the 60 minute. Okay. Not too much here either, guys. This may turn into a flag later on. You never know. Let's go and look at the 15. Yeah, the ATR is just too big on this currency pair at the moment to even look at anything. So I'd wait for a flag, see if we can come into the structure level just here for the flag. Into that roughly 61.8 area. And we'll know later on today if this turns into a flag or not. Look at that. If you got an entry there and even played for a retest of the highs, you're talking about 250 pips of reward just for a retest of the highs on the 60 minute. So we will see what happens with that. I'll move that out of the way. How's everybody else's trading doing, by the way, guys? You obviously all know how mine's doing. I am also in an Aussie dollar Swiss trade, taking a second chance at this flag pattern. Got an entry down here at this little structure level, lost 15 pips. We're in it again. We're still pushing higher. Still pushing higher. I've got 20 pips for about 50 here, and we actually held structure. But structure lately, guys, hasn't been held, has it? In fact, I've got a brilliant trade to show you on the New Zealand yen. More confirmation that structure is not being held. And we'll look at that in just a moment. In fact, we'll take a look at that now. We'll take a look at that now. Stuart, not been good for him either. Most of the traders I've been speaking to are not doing very well at all. Not doing very well at all. Morning, Cody. There is a potential flag down here as well, guys. Right, I'll show you what I was looking at on the New Zealand yen. It was a valid 2618 opportunity, a very nice one as well. But I don't trade 2618s by themselves. But what we had was, this was the structure level. This again, major level of structure that is now being violated, and that is what we're seeing a lot of, guys. We're seeing a lot of structure violations, and since my trading is structure based, we're seeing a lot of losses. If I drop down to the 240, we had this just down here, this beautiful double bottom. It was valid on the 240 and on the 60 with the RSI confirmation. This was it in real time. We had actually here violated this level, but if you look left, it was a very nice level for this to hold. It also happened at the 6900 psychological number. This was the level that I was expecting price to come up to. You can see we fell short, and this was a lovely 2618 opportunity. I didn't enter it because I don't trade 2618s by themselves. But again, look at what happened. Look at the big violation we've had here. So we're just seeing lots and lots of structure violations, lots and lots of directional moves. Somebody said to me the other day, this is a trend continuation person's dream. Well, yeah, we're seeing lots and lots of directional movement. The thing is, my opinion is that a lot of trend continuation traders will take some of their profits at structure. And there'll be a point when they come into, you know, like the Euro Aussie, when we've hit 5 or 6 year new highs, that they may not hold the position anymore. So even though trend continuation traders who are quite aggressive and always hold a position, if that's you, by the way, guys, please let me know. But generally speaking, I can't see that many people have held big positions for this long. Stuart, he has no timeline to finish it. So are you in any of those, you know, those big trend continuation trades? Are you just going to hold it until you get stopped out? I have no timeline to finish it. Or are you saying that you've got no projection as to where it will go? But yeah, that was the New Zealand yen. Just another example of another lovely. Oh, okay, for the back testing, I've got you. So yeah, New Zealand yen, that was stopped out. We may as well finish the underwriting of this currency pair. And again, lovely directional move. Whether or not this turns into a flag or we just see movement back into this area, I don't know. But a very directional break of the structure level, and I would expect a shallow retracement. So I'd expect a shallow retracement to this area, and we could look for a rotation pattern. I was actually looking at this, by the way, guys. I was looking at this. So directional pole, minimum of a 382 is required for me personally. You can see we're coming up to that 382 now. It does, you do have structure being adhered to. Actually, are we holding it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll wait and see what happens here at this 382 level, see if this structure level gets held. My concern here is that it's not up at this resistance level. So just like the Aussie dollar Swiss, when we had some internal structure just here, this may be one where we take a shot at it with a small amount of risk, and if we violate and come up to this level and the trade is still valid, then we can get involved up here. If it's not going to be a flag, we'll just look for a rotation pattern within this zone. So there is opportunities. There are still opportunities on the radar. Let's go and take a look at a few of the other currencies. We'll take a look at the euro dollar. We spoke about this in the last webinar, and I'm just going to catch up with the chat as well, guys. Okay, so Khan said never buy at trend beginning and never wait till the trend end. Yeah, exactly, Khan. And even if you're very aggressive trend follower, even if I was aggressive and that was my style of trading, if we'd reached like new highs on the Euro Aussie, 6-year new highs, I probably wouldn't hold it. The pound pairs, 2-year lows, probably wouldn't hold it. The Aussie pair, what are we at, 11-year lows, I wouldn't hold it. So if anybody's making money, please let me know. I would like to know, but it's not me. Cody, never stops really. We never know it's trending until it's actually trending. Yep. If you know what I mean, just got to stick to our rules and execute the trade if it meets the rules. Yeah. Yep, so euro dollar, we spoke about this, didn't we? We spoke about how this was a trend continuation opportunity if you were aggressive, but the double bottom was not valid, and we had the big cipher pattern, if you remember. So this has not as yet hit targets, but if you're in this, well, actually, yeah, you may have actually hit targets on that. So if you did, well done. One of the few advanced patterns that's for me personally that I've seen that has gone on to win. Let's go and take a look at the dailies. So we spoke about how this was a new low just here, but it did come into some internal structure. I think it was this couple of levels here and here. And how if you were looking for shorts, I would pay attention to this wick and these wicks just here. And you can see we put in an indecision candle, and we are moving bearishly this morning. Let's go and take a look at the 240. Yeah, not too much here on the 240 then. On the 240, if you was looking at structure, well, we violated structure here, so there'd be no trend continuation opportunity for me. Could this turn out to be a flag? It's unusual to get big flags on the euro dollar, but it could be. I think this would be unlikely, but it could be. Let's go and take a look at the 60. And this is nothing for me, guys. Nothing for me on the euro dollar. I'll move that out of the way. And we will take a look at, should we take a look at the pound Aussie? Pound Aussie. So on the dailies, we now have this retest that has held, and we're now seeing a bullish move. There is an area of resistance up here that I would have paid attention to, and as you can see, we're seeing a reaction at that point. Also comes in at the 180-100. Marcus says cipher pattern. I see it. Yeah, I see it, Marcus. Actually, it might be on the dailies that it's valid. What time frame, Marcus? Is it on the lower time frame? Take a look at the 240. Not seeing a cipher. Oh, the euro dollar. Sorry, guy. Euro dollar. Yeah, the big cipher. Yep. Okay, pound Aussie then. Not a great deal here, guys, and I have, to be honest with you, very little interest about getting involved in another pound trade right now. Marcus says it was on the 60. This one. Okay. It's a bearish cipher. Yeah, it's that big one you're looking at, isn't it? It's that one. Okay. Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie. Very big bullish rally here. Today we have seen a move of 229 pips. Still, for me, this is still looking like erratic behavior. This single 4-hourly candle was 246 pips. When I start seeing big elephant candles like this, great big bullish candles, yeah, it concerns me a little bit. So if I zoom out and I look at the size of this candle, okay, the size of this candle is this big, and I zoom out and I compare it to any other candle this size on the chart, the only ones that come close were down here when we had the news out a few days ago. Apart from that, guys, does it look unusual? Is this candle significantly bigger than all the others? And the answer is yes. And I'm just not very happy about getting involved with any more pound trades. Let's go and look at the 60. $15. That was not a valid double top, so was not a valid 26.18. No bat pattern, nothing. So what you do have now, guys, is this structure area where we were short, this major structure area that had been tested countless times, yeah, which was a good area to see if the market would fall short, because we had the double top, we had 7 or 8 tests up here, and now we've violated it. So again, what happens when we test an area multiple times and we violate it? We tend to violate it with force, and that was a 250 pip 4-hourly candle that we violated it with, and we're now seeing a pullback into it, aren't we, guys? Marcus, Marcus, guys, go and check it out at 112.49. Marcus is talking about that cipher on the euro dollar 60. Karen says China has devalued the yen, and Stuart says he's noticed in 2009 and 2010 in my backtesting the markets were like this. Well, there you go. That was a decade ago. That was 10 years ago. And so unusual, unpredictable, bigger drawdown, more losses, trades just being stopped out by a pip here and there. It all falls into unusual behavior. Unusual. There you go. Karen says another bubble burst sooner than later. I have been reading a few places are predicting another bubble burst. It could be one of those, though. It could be in 6 months. It could be in another 5 years. I think this is a good example of why having good position sizing and risk management is very important, because there are these times when you see this type of erratic and unusual behavior. Higher volatility. It all stacks up, doesn't it? It all stacks up to unusual. It all stacks up to unusual. So going back to the pound Aussie though, this would be a very nice area to look for a long opportunity. Let me just go back and take a bigger look at this. So on the dailies, okay, the 240. You see, even a long opportunity here is going to be a little bit too aggressive for me, just the way the markets are moving. 60. So yeah, conservative entry, guys. I'd look for it on the 15. I'd look for a conservative entry down here, and you could look for a retest of the highs. Be prepared though. You'd have 170 pips up for grabs, but you'd still have probably 40-50 pips of risk. I'm going to just take a look at the 5 range. Karen says it's usually a 10-year cycle. I'm really hoping the £2 trades and min don't lose. It would be quite a big drawdown then. And it's not just a drawdown, it's having to overcome the drawdown and get yourself out of it. That's the hard work. And what you then end up projecting, because you've at least got another month then of trading before you're even looking at getting back at break even. And that's difficult, because you know then you're just working to get yourself out of a drawdown, not to make money. And that would be tough. I think that would be tough for everybody. It would be particularly tough for me. It'd be tough for the website, because there will be people that leave, and there's not much we can do about that. If people have joined in the last month and we've seen this movement, we've seen all this erratic behaviour, it's not going to do anything for their bank balance, for their trading psychology, and they'll probably leave, and there's not too much we can do about that. On the 5 range, there isn't, yeah, you're just looking at the trend: a new low, a pullback, a new low, a pullback, a new low, a pullback. Did not provide a double top, a new low, a pullback. There's just, even though this is trending on the 5 range, it's not providing opportunities to get involved. Yeah, 15 is what I'd monitor, guys. I'm going to move that out of the way. Okay. New Zealand yen. We're going to see what happens at that 382 fib. New Zealand dollar, we've been over. Okay, I am just going to bring back over the pound New Zealand and just take a look at this. This is one of the few trades which did provide an opportunity, but it was way too aggressive. Double top, 26.18. Problem is, you would have had around 100 pips of risk on that trade. Personally, I think we're going to see a move down to this level. I think we're going to see a lot of relief after that big move. Did anybody get involved with this trade? It happened very early, but well, actually, your 26.18 happened at around 8 in the morning, and there's around 260 pips. You're over halfway to targets. If you're a 26.18 trader, there was an opportunity there. We're going to take a look at the dailies. Stuart, he's not leaving. No one should leave as cost of education rather than the profit. Yeah, and I do say as well, you don't have to take the signals. You can just do the educational material and just be here for the webinars. Okay, let's go down to the 240. We did briefly look at this, didn't we? So I would expect to move lower here. I would expect to move into these structure levels. Go to the 60. Oh, here comes another loss, guys. Aussie dollar Swiss. Valid pattern, structure held. 2 valid opportunities. Can't even get flag patterns to win, guys. Well, we will wait and see. We're not out of it yet. Not out of it yet. I'm just going to look at the 5 range here on the pound New Zealand. This may be one where you could drop down to the 5 range, and if we're trending very nicely and we've got room to come lower and see that relief, you could look at getting involved. Just let me reload that template. So very directional movement here, guys. Move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower. RSI just gone oversold. You could look for a pullback. I would look in this zone here. Look for a lower low, lower close. Yeah, I take first targets at a retest of the lows and then hold second positions to see if you get the bigger move lower, because we just may see an awful lot of relief here to the downside. Any questions on the pound New Zealand? Stuart, it will probably react to the 50% retracement of that bullish candle. Cody, not sure if you went over this yet, but there's a cipher at market on the pound yen X leg at 120. Okay, for a more conservative entry. We didn't look at the pound yen. Let's go and take a look at it. See what you're looking at. Cody's looking at this cipher pattern just here as the entry. Just a reminder here, guys, you've got a confirmed double bottom down here. If it's not valid on the 240, it is on the 60. You got a confirmed break above, close above, and you do have a harmonic move down to this point, which means that you've got a valid 2618 entry on this trade as well. So if it's valid for you, it's at market. You could, targets on the harmonic move is the 382. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we came up to retest as a minimum this structure level. However, if you don't want to enter it and you want to be a little bit more conservative due to these this unusual movement, because it's a pound pair, then stay out of the trade. And stay out of the trade. What time are we on? 10:30. Let me just have a quick peek at some of the Aussie currency pairs, because they were providing some interesting movement this morning. Yeah, 2618 on the 240. It's also valid on the 60, but yeah, on the 240 as well. Will it hold though? How many levels of structure have been violated recently? Who knows? I'm just going to bring over trading view, and we're going to look at a few of the Aussie pairs. So here on the 60, you can see the Aussie Swissy. We've had a new low and we're seeing a pullback. Let's just take a look at the 15. If we take a look at the Aussie dollar yen, I'm going to go back to the hourly, guys. We've had a new low and we're pulling back. Here is the 15. If we look at the the Aussie dollar we've done, if we look at the Aussie dollar New Zealand, I'm going to go to the hourly first of all. On the hourly, the Aussie dollar New Zealand, look at the size of the big bullish run we've had. If we drop to the 15, it was looking like we may get a rising channel. It looks invalid now. Doesn't look like we're going to get that rising channel. Okay. I thought there was a little bit more on there than what there actually was, but let me move this out of the way. Is there any currency pairs you guys want to take a look at? Is anybody still in the pound dollar as well? This was the double bottom trade, 2618, and it's not looking very good, if I'm honest with you. We're just seeing erratic behavior. This double bottom has turned more into a channel for me and is indicating we're going to break to the downside. Is anybody in the pound dollar trade? Khan. It's already in the head and shoulders. So you're long on this currency pair, are you, Khan? Just 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I've got to do an airport run in a few minutes, so we'll start wrapping this up. Marcus, nope, he's not in it. I'm having serious doubts about this. You can see that we're actually now starting to violate this structure level. And given the uncertainty of the pound, this may be one of the very, very rare occasions that I will look at exiting a trade. We do have the valid double bottom. You can see it right here, the valid retest. But the movement that we're seeing is just not the movement that we would see for the continuation for the breakout. So I'm going to see how price reacts. What we could end up seeing is just a big rally to the downside here. Maybe a case that I take a 30 pip hit on this, something like this, but I may just stay out of the pound pairs for the next week, and we'll see if things settle down next week. But I will put it within the I will send it out as a signal that I've exited this trade, just simply due to all the uncertainty. But we're clearly in consolidation here now, guys, in this channel. That channel to me is indicating that we're going to break bearishly, and just like we've been seeing for several weeks. So it may be one of the, one of the times when I actually end up exiting the trade. Is anybody in the pound yen? Is it, and if you're not, are you going to get involved with the pound yen given all the uncertainty? I would actually like to know everybody's feedback on that. I don't want to make the drawdown any worse, and obviously just going back to Sarah's question, would you change your trading? No. However, given uncertain times when we're seeing erratic behavior and movement, I want to wait for a little bit more confirmation first, though. Okay, Cody, yep. Cody's going to get in, or is in, the pound yen trade. It's a very nice setup. I just haven't seen anything bullish. Just look at everything here. Everything's been bearish, bearish, bearish. Yep. Okay, guys. If there's no questions, we will wrap this up. Okay, Cody's taking more conservative targets, 129.90s. Okay, I've got you for a retest of this level. Yeah. Marcus was not filled, but he's going to stay out. Yeah, I hate to say what I've just said about the pound dollar, but it's been a long time since I've actively or knowingly sabotaged a trade. Shouldn't let the drawdown affect my trading. Whether we're in a drawdown or we're in profit should not dictate whether we do or don't exit a trade. But what it so I'm not letting that cloud my judgment. But what I am noticing is everything we've discussed, every single thing we have discussed in terms of the unusual behavior. So I'm going to give it a little bit longer on the pound dollar, and we will see. I'm around about 10 pips up on the pound yen currently. we will see what happens with that as well. Yeah, and I haven't decided yet, but I may take the stance of just, I'm going to exit the pound, stay out of it. That has been the number one reason really over the past few weeks. We've been really seeing quite a big hit, and we will see if yeah, I'll just decide, see what happens. But I will send it out anyway. I'll let everybody know if that's what I'm doing, and then I'll just give it a week. I'm just going to stay out the pound pairs, let everything settle, and take a new look at it next week. Stuart says, thanks Chris, chin up mate, things will get better. They absolutely will, Stuart, they absolutely will. And I don't want just, I said this before, I don't want just my trading to get better, I want everybody else's as well. Martin, yes, he says, for the pound yen. So you'll actually enter that, will you, Martin? The 26.18 trade. 100 pips will risk for about 220 it is. Yep. Okay guys, well just very finally, we're still holding structure on the Aussie dollar Swiss. Just look at how we're holding structure, but we are pushing higher. And secondly, Euro pound still pushing higher. I would actually love for that to go and hit targets, because again it's just confirmation that due to the erratic behavior the trade went on to win, but we got stopped out. And it would be nice to say, well, you know, we were right with the entry, we were right with the targets. Unfortunately, we were out with the stop by a couple of pips due to the erratic behavior, and that'll make 2 this week if it hits, for about 180 pips. And while it's no consolation that we've missed out on that 180 pips, at least we can blame something, the erratic behavior. And Cody says, just finally, it's coming down to test again for a double bottom. Okie dokie. Alright guys, well thank you for joining me. Yeah, I'll let you know on the pound what I actually do. Apart from that guys, I will see you in the next webinar.